fun doing that. No, it's funny. As funny as it is, it's funnier for the people that are watching it. You know what's going to happen. You did it just out of courtesy to me. So what's the other resolution?
Is Jerry being, in the office?
Who?
Jerry?
No, it's not working.
Next time we go to the office, can we bring a couple of forks, or plastic forks over? I don't have anything.
I thought we needed his hands, right?
He doesn't need it more.
Where's that at? Kind of just wondered what, none of my business.
This meeting is being recorded.
give my wife a hard time. I used to have, one day our bookkeeper said, you got a really great mustache, and I never noticed it. That's all you needed.
Hey, Tim, my microphone won't shut off. I just totally scarfed my food.
So we couldn't do that in social distance. So when the board, so Robert, Kelly, whoever's back there, I can't see. But when the board adjourns to closed session, you guys will all need to leave the room and we'll call you back at 6. Thanks. Ready to go.
Joe, you good or you need a second? If you can't be good at it. Wait, that's January. Hold on, I'm on the wrong meeting. Dang it. Oh, no, that's right, January. We're in January, right? Popped up January. I'm like, that's not right. We're well beyond that. All right, let's see, what, 5:02? All right, we'll call the January 12th, 2021 Board of Trustees meeting to order. And I'm trying to get into the agenda. All right, we'll start with roll call.
Board President Wood,
Here.
Vice President Barkley,
Here.
Clerk Henderson. Here. Trustee Brady.
Here.
Trustee Pinkerton. Here. Student Trustee Walsh, join us for open session. And Superintendent President Hall.
Here.
All right, do we have any, we have announcement of closed session items? Do we have any announcements related to closed session?
No.
No, all right, then we will recess the closed session at this time. See everybody in an hour.
Thank you to the rest. Hope you have food out there. I don't know.
There's fruit baskets.
I know. Michelle's like trying to send a message that we're not healthy enough. I know, we're staying here though, Dennis.
Hey, Dennis. We're staying. What? We're staying here. We're staying here. Stay right here.
Yeah, don't leave us, Dennis. We got 4 hungry kids and a crop in the field. Joe's growing a mustache.
The recording has stopped.
Of the Board of Trustees meeting to order. January 12th, 2021, and we'll go to roll call.
Trustee Wood,
Here.
trustee Tarpley. Here. Trustee Henderson,
Here.
trustee Brady,
Here.
trustee Pinkerton,
Here.
student trustee Lee,
Here.
superintendent president Walden.
Here.
All right, before we move on to Pledge of Allegiance, I'll just apologize to everybody out there watching. We did start the meeting late. We did finish our closed session early. However, this sounds crazy, but it's true. We had a plumbing emergency in the building here that President Lee and I, with the tools from Robert Sewell, just fixed. So good job, Bridge. Like, we can do anything, right?
Absolutely.
From plumbers to board meetings. So the plumbing
President
thing
Wood,
is
though,
stopped.
can I ask, I thought the emergency occurred after Dr. Walden went in there.
Yeah,
So,
it did.
No, it was in the women's restroom.
And it was in the ladies' room, which
oh, it was in the ladies' room?
it was. And
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Dr. Dan.
I did encourage people to take photos, and I have Bridge coming.
This meeting is being recorded.
Thought that would make a nice photo, but nobody wanted to take a picture. But we did fix the plumbing. So Steve Garcia, if you're watching,
He's not watching.
don't
He's
blame
not
him.
watching, I'm
Oh
sure.
yeah, he's gone. Huh?
Yeah, he's outta here,
Oh,
huh?
Yeah,
Is he on vacation?
He
he
retired.
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 He retired.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe he's watching.
yeah, smart guy.
So all right.
watching.
So we have a closed session report, and
Pledge of Allegiance.
we have. Oh, sorry, backing up. Pledge of Allegiance. Bridge, you want to lead us in that from plumber to pledge leader?
Right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, now we have closed session report with Jeff.
Whoop, there we go. All right, good evening, everyone. The board met in closed session. Closed session began at approximately 5:05 p.m. this evening. All five board members were present. On item 2.2, employee discipline dismissal, there's no reportable action. The employee and their attorney will be notified of the outcome. On item 2.3, an update was provided to the board by council, and there was no action on that item. That concludes closed session, and closed session ended at approximately 5:50 p.m.
All right, now we're moving on to, thank you, Jeff. We're moving on to public comment. Any public comment tonight, Michelle? Or- What? No. Michelle actually contacted me previously to indicate that nobody had gotten back to the request for invocation. So it was taken off the agenda. So no public comment. Swearing in, oath of office, Dennis Henderson. Do you have somebody that you'd like to swear you in?
You gonna wear a mask?
I'll wear a mask.
I'm not gonna wear a mask. Not for that. I'm gonna get sworn at.
Okay, raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Dennis Henderson,
I, Dennis Henderson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of
and
California
the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of
and
California,
the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
that I will well
that I will well
and faithfully
and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
of which I am about to enter.
Okay, you can sign right here. If you want to sign, there.
Robert, are you our resident photographer this evening? If you don't get a picture, it didn't happen. There, I'm getting out of your picture though. Congratulations, Dennis. I think a few more than that. 6 or 7. I'm not trying to date you, buddy, but I think it's been a few more than 6 or 7. All right, announcement of items deleted or corrected from the agenda. Anything deleted or corrected?
Yes.
Yes, okay, go ahead.
We're getting feedback. I don't know where from, but anyway, 8:15, item 8:15. The agreement infrastructure. Is that supposed to say infrastructure? I think that's infrastructure, supposed to be. There were 2 typos. Canvas was misspelled incorrectly in the subject line, and superintendent was spelled wrong in the recommended action. Item 10.4, 1 typo. Title 4 needs to be changed to Title 9. It's a different law. Corrected in subject line and in recommended action. That's it.
All right, thank you. Progress on Board of Trustees goals. Are we going, do we want to report out, or we were doing, somebody remind me, we were alternating, right?
We were alternating, but I will tell you, we did not, in fairness to the other 3, if you'll give us a month off, we'll prep those 3 for next month.
All right, we're skipping
Or did
that.
they, no, what?
There is a list on their desks, but it was not provided beforehand.
Right, I have the board goals tracking here, and I believe
Okay.
it's also part of the materials. Is that correct? So could we just indicate that the board goals tracking is posted as an attachment to the agenda, and leave it at that? Does anybody want to comment on their goals? Anything in particular? Joe, no? Anything?
We
Dennis?
did.
Sharon?
Yeah, I think I'll wait till next month. I just have a question, President Wood.
Yeah.
Did we have somebody for prayer this month, or did we?
No, we did skip that. Michelle and Gabby were working on getting somebody. They reached out to numerous people. Nobody responded. Nobody answered up. They made attempts, and I
I
talked to
might
Michelle.
suggest it would make it easier for them. We know a lot of pastors up here, so we're willing to help if they need help. So Michelle, if you need, I just need, a week's notice. The more notice that we have, the better, and reach out and kind of move them around.
My assumption was with the holidays and Christmas, New Year's, and then everything else, probably people were tied up. So I figured we'd give them a pass. And
Yeah. Our country needs a prayer tonight.
We'll see.
A deep prayer.
We'll see. We'll see what happens
We need
next
a big
month.
prayer.
All right, Superintendent President's report. We'll start with 6-1, the foundation.
Yeah, are you here, Shannon?
I am.
Okay.
Hold on just a minute. Let me push all the different things here. So we're going to change things up a little bit. We've been doing Zoom reports and everything, and we want to make these a little bit more meaningful. And so from a suggestion from Dr. Walden, we are going to start having students say something in our foundation reports. And I'm looking really forward to this part of it. So at this time, I would like to introduce Jaden Berg. He's a current VVC student and a recipient of the Apple Valley High School Alumni Scholarship. Jaden, thank you for joining us this evening. And as soon as you're ready, go ahead and unmute and begin.
Hi, my name is Jaden Berg. I came from the Access program. And they gave me a great scholarship. They had really bad disabilities that they helped me out with. They gave me a really good scholarship that helped pay for my scholarship. It really helped with me, my disabilities. Thank you. They helped me. Thank you so much. It really did help me a lot. And yeah. Thank you.
So Jaden, I've got to tell you, I'm so excited that you're here tonight because I just found out that you are the grandson of Randy Taylor.
Yes.
And he has been a great friend of our families for years and years. And we have followed your journey, and you're an amazing young man. So congratulations, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
All right. So we will go
And
ahead.
is that the Randy Taylor in real estate?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Great person. So thank you, Jaden.
You're welcome. Have a good day, guys.
Okay, bye-bye.
Have a good night.
All right, so we will do that each month, and if we don't, then if you follow us on Facebook or any of those platforms, you will see student testimonials. And if we can't get a live person for you guys, then we will play one of those that we're doing all the time. So I'm pretty excited about this, and we're probably going to incorporate that into our foundation board meetings also. So anyway, let's move on. I've got a quick report tonight. Speaking of scholarships, the scholarship drive opens tomorrow. Once again, students will be able to complete a single application to qualify for the myriad of scholarships offered through the Victor Valley College Foundation. Students can access the applications by logging onto their My VVC portal and clicking on Scholarship Manager. We will be accepting applications from starting January 13th through Wednesday the 31st. If you need additional information about upcoming workshops, deadlines, or events, you can go onto the foundation's website and social media. And if you happen to be on there, like and share those for us. That would be good as we're getting the message out. As we go into our alumni report, the foundation has added 9 additional members since November to our Alumni Association, utilizing our newly revamped online form. The alumni donations during that same time frame were just over $5,000. We'll continue to focus on increasing these numbers during 2021. And last, I'm going to move into our Hall of Fame celebration. We were a busy group of people in the month of December, notifying all of the award recipients. Due to COVID, obviously, we had to surprise each recipient over Zoom rather than in person. But one of the benefits turned out to be that friends, family, and just about anybody that they wanted to invite could be there for the surprise notification. So we're excited to announce the recipients to you. I am going to see if I can share my screen here. All right, are you guys able to see that?
Yeah, we can see that.
Okay, perfect. So first of all, we'll go ahead, and obviously this is our Hall of Fame. And our first recipient was Eric Schmidt, who is the Alumni Hall of Fame winner. The next recipient was Dakota Higgins, who is our Young Alumni Hall of Fame winner. The next person was Cindy Schmidt, which is our Distinguished Service Education. The next person is Cindy Bostick, Distinguished Service Community. And then we had 2 President Award recipients. We had Don Brown, and all of you know who Don is. He was our president for several years and continues to serve on the foundation board, very well deserved. And then finally, Carl Tate. And as many of you will remember, he's been extremely influential over his life and been a big supporter of the college. So those are our recipient winners. And let's see if I can stop sharing here. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, I think we're back. All right, so we are in process of selecting a date and a venue, and we'll invite you to join us in honoring these deserving individuals a little bit later. Obviously, as you guys all know, things have been interrupted because of COVID. So once we come up with that date and time, you guys will be some of the first people that we, let you know what that is. So does anybody have any questions? I guess I should have said Happy New Year at the beginning of this, but If there's any questions, I'll take those now. Otherwise, that concludes my report.
Any questions? Well, Happy New Year. And you have a problem with your fireplace. Your fire is not moving behind you.
I know. You know, I get a lot of people who say, hey, we like your house. And I'm like, no, this is not real. So.
Shannon.
All right. Thank you. Back to Dr. Walden for a
The
facilities update.
Facilities update. So before Steve Garcia retired, we went out with a full search and looked for a similar position. We weren't actually trying to replace his job description, but we were looking for a director of maintenance and operations.
I think the guys are here to finish what Bridge and I started.
Yeah.
Can we pause real quick?
Okay.
I saw that it looks like they're out there looking for the problem. Sorry.
Many talents.
Pause.
I find that when the restroom doesn't work, I have to go.
Who did you say was out there?
I know. I'm like,
Plumbers.
Huh?
The plumbers.
Oh, the plumbers. Oh.
yeah, like tea and water, I'm done.
How's it going, Sharon?
All right, they're good. The whole dang cavalry showed up. You got like 10 people.
Yeah, well, you know what? When you open
Tell
your
them
mouth,
water leak, they all show up.
I probably made it sound worse than it is, but anyway. So after that search, we had some good finalists. We chose one, and then due to the fact that they actually came to campus, they accepted the job, they were walking the campus, we were in the midst of onboarding, and they got a very negative, that person got a very negative health report from his doctor, and he rescinded. So since then, we have decided to go out again. So we have reposted the position. If we haven't reposted, we will be reposting this week later. And we're going to recruit another round and see if we can get someone in that place. In the meantime, we've asked one of the other employees to step up and be our acting, but I'm going to let you explain this, John. He can't actually supervise because of his union, but he's functionally supervising, and you're the actual supervisor, is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, Kevin Gee is on the maintenance staff as a lead HVAC person. So he is in an acting capacity pursuant to our bargaining agreement with CSCA.
Okay, thank you. And so that's our facilities update for tonight. And ASB goals.
We're actually going to pass for this month.
Oh, Happy New Year.
Yes.
You're over your finals now, right?
Yes, now I just had the bright idea to take Dr. Joel during a 6-week class. So that's the main thing that's been going on. We just started our meetings back too over the winter break. So we had our first meeting, went over a couple things, but the goals, we're going to go back over that and reassess what we're going to be doing for this semester coming up.
Okay, well, we'll look forward to a report next month.
Yes, sir.
Right now, I have asked Chris Piercy if he would do a brief update on the work we are doing in partnering with the high schools.
Good evening, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. That
We hear you.
our work is continuing with our partner schools during these really challenging times, and we're trying to help them with a lot of the issues they're facing, which seem to be the issues we're facing. We have our frontline, our basic 3 outreach programs to support them. The Bridge Counselor program, which is our oldest program, it's now entering its 14th year. It started in 2006, 2007 with 3 schools. We now have 31 schools that are designated bridge schools and have a bridge counselor on each site. Now, these are high school counselors who we give a small stipend to, who do a ton of work for us, and that we meet with monthly to see what's going on at the high school, see how we can help them in our matriculation, our enrollment, and getting our kids aligned to the programs that we offer. And they do a lot of work for us. They're in articulation, the non-CCAP and CCAP, and they're also a great communication link for us to know what's going on with the schools. And I personally am in contact with most of them at least once a week and seeing what's going on and what we can do. We also have our ambassador program that is going strong, and we have the VVC students that we train. They can work up to 20 hours a week during the first or second semester, and we send them out to the school to give a little younger voice, so they're not looking at me when we're talking about VVC and what they can do. And they've been really a great asset for us out at the schools. The schools love them to come out there and work with the kids on matriculation, which has been a real challenge for us with everything being online. A new program we have that's called the CCAP Site Coordinators, we call them the CSCs, are 9 high school counselors who we hired as adjuncts and give 4 hours a week. They have to work after or before their normal work day. And they have taken over at the big schools the CCAP program in doing the paperwork, working with the staff, recruiting, all the things that we do. Remember, we've grown in the last year and a half from about 60 CCAP classes to this year we were on track to do 240. So they become incredibly valuable to us as an asset on the campus. Now, all of these groups are working on our normal activities, right? Articulation, non-CCAP, CCAP. We're also working on some academies, which are Victor Valley Union High School District that they want to do in law. We are partners with Snowline and Victor Valley Union High School District on a grant proposal, and with public safety, which would, if we get the grant, would allow us to create 3 trailers and vehicles to pull them out with complete labs and activities so that we could go out to these sites and offer the next level of classes beyond introduction, so that we could get these kids more locked into a pathway. So when they came over here, they would just have to finish up. We also are piloting courses during COVID. We're still doing it. EMS 60 out at Apple Valley High School was a big success. And another thing we're doing, I'm working with John Sweet, and we've created a class called Auto 911. And the vision of this, working with Aspiria, is a non-credit class that takes kids through the ABCs of buying a car, maintaining a car, all of these things with a car, because they aren't learning it anywhere else. And it will have a lab component with it, from changing tires to changing oil to all sorts of things. And we have dealers involved now that said they'll take the kids and walk them through how to buy a car, how the financing works, all of these things. And it's non-credit. You go about 9 weeks. We're going to pilot it with Hesperia and Apple Valley, it looks like. And I've already had 7 schools say they're in. So we're working on that. So even though it's COVID, we're still building our relationships. We have a real strong relationship with all our schools, and we're just moving on.
So Chris, we have over 30 high schools around that we recruit from actively, and we have classes in. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Well, we have 31 schools that we actively, there are feeder schools that we actively work with on getting kids over here into programs and special activities. We have about 16 schools that are doing CCAP courses, and we have schools that have asked that if they can join. So that has increased. And we have a lot of different schools doing a lot of different activities. One of our charters just came on and said they want to start offering guidance classes out at their charters through us on CCAP. So we're growing there also. But yeah, we have a large number compared to Chafee and other schools. 31 is a lot, I have found out. I didn't think it was, but we have a lot of schools that we recruit from.
Thank you, Chris.
You are
Anybody have
welcome.
questions?
No,
Chris?
Dr. Walton, Chris,
Yes, sir.
I just want to personally thank you. One of your big supporters, our former trustee, John Pinkerton, thinks so highly of you, and I do too. And I've seen you at work. You are so passionate about what you do. You're one of the greatest assets that we have. And I just want to personally thank you for everything you do. You're just a great asset to our college.
Thank you so very much. I'm just grateful that VVC lets me do what I do and to try to help these kids. It's a great college, it's a great place for our kids.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so kind of in concert with that, the next part of our report, I actually was going to combine these two, but we decided to separate them. So we have Chris with his part, and then we have our strike force report coming tonight from Vice Presidents Scott and Ingleson.
I'm gonna share screen. So I just wanted to update the board on our strike force update. We've finished winter and now are hyper focused on spring and serving our students. First thing, and it's broken into 3 different areas. I'm going to handle the first bullet point, and I'll ask Dr. Engelson to handle the other 2 big bullet points. But one of the things we continue to remain to do in instruction is our class schedule, look at it on a daily basis. The deans are reviewing the class schedule, see what the fill rates are, see if we can add more courses based on demand from students. And then one thing that we found out was missing was the spring schedule was not posted on the website, nor was a list of open classes. So working with IT, we were able to get that done right away. And Robert Sewell's been involved in a lot of these processes as well. The next 2 bullet items, you'll see there's a familiar name, Rennie Toms, on both of these. He's come up with both of these and solved both of these, and it's been a really big help. He's a great asset to this institution. So one of the things we found out was there's a maximum number of units for winter, well, for all semesters, but it came up in winter that a student can enroll in, and that's 8 units. Well, what we found out, and Rennie found out, was if a student was enrolled in a 6-unit biology class and then wanted to be on the wait list for a 3-unit history class, they couldn't do that because the system recognized that as being over 8 units, even though one's a wait list and one's an actual enrollment. So we fixed that, he fixed that, so it's now separate. And that actually helped a bunch of students for winter. And then the other thing he found out, or he brought it to light for us, was at some point or another, somebody made the decision that on the Friday at midnight before, let's say classes start on a Monday, the Friday preceding it at midnight, all waitlist activity would be shut down. So if a student dropped a course on Saturday or Sunday, that spot just remained unfilled because the automatic processes were shut down. And if you know anything about enrollment, the weekend before class start is a very active time. So we were able to remove that and get it to Sunday night now. So the waitlist activity is active right up until class start. The other thing we're going to start, I've found this very successful as a postcard marketing campaign for spring, and it's going to happen here in a couple weeks. Every address in the high desert in our service area is going to get a postcard in their mailbox probably about a 6x11 postcard. That's, gonna welcome them to Victor Valley College, give them all sorts of links and such like that for us to, they're welcome to come here. We're open for spring. We're serving students. We're supporting students for spring. So that's what that card is going to say, and that should come out in a couple weeks. And it's going to be well over 100,000 postcards we're going to be mailing out. And that works. And that's the big thing is we're gonna market this like crazy. We're gonna need a big old catcher's mitt to support all of the activity that's going to happen here in the next couple weeks. And I'll let Dr. Engelson talk about that. The calling campaign, we found out, again, Robert Sewell brought to light, there were a little over 5,000 students that were enrolled in fall but hadn't yet enrolled in spring. So we're going to make the commitment to call each one of them and ask them, what do they need? What supports can we have, or what support can we give for you to help you come back here in spring? And then Yogesh and our CIO has proposed, and we're moving forward with the digital advertising campaign that's going to be on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and somewhere else. But it's going to track clicks, and we're going to be doing some targeted advertising as well. So that's a lot of stuff to do in the next few weeks, but I think, and I'm confident that we're going to see a spike in enrollments so we can serve the students of the high desert. Dr. Engelson?
Well, good evening, board, and a happy new year to you. I would echo Dr. Scott in that we've got a very enthusiastic team who's ready to take this on. You'll see that the commonality of the themes that we're working on is support. We know that the students are having difficult times at home, personally and academically. So we're being very clear to them up front in our communication that we know that they're having challenges, and we're providing them very specific remedies to the challenges they have. So indicated here on the presentation, for example, is with regard to students working through the registration process. Our counselors have created some really fabulous YouTube tutorials so that students get very specific step-by-step directions how to register, how to go online and do this, how to do that, those kinds of things. We also, with the help of our outreach team, are creating on our virtual one-stop a Zoom lobby so that there will be admissions and records, financial aid, and counseling support for students who call in anytime from 8 to 4:30. And in addition to our ambassadors, so that there's always somebody at the other end of the phone. In addition, the communication, as you indicated, and then once students are enrolled, we want to make sure that they have all the skills and, again, access to the support that they need so that they can stay registered. We will have a finishing and completion campaign going. So that will be kicked off with a welcome week, the week before classes begin, February 9th, 10th, and 11th, that will include faculty, staff, students, to ensure that students feel a sense of connection with the semester upcoming. And then, as indicated, additional support. And we're creating some tools as well for our faculty so that they know that while they're in the classroom with the students, that they have some tools that they can share as well. And I think that I can speak for Dr. Scott and the rest of our team to say this is really just the beginning, and we're just keeping our thumb on the pulse of what's going on and trying to hear our students very clearly and being receptive to their needs. So stay tuned.
Thank you both. I just want to say that we had a meeting just before board tonight, and we are committed in the next 3 weeks to call all 5,000 of those students and actually make contact with them. Keep calling until we actually reach them and not just leave message, do our very best. So we'll report on that, how that went next month. I want to give you briefly Well, by the way, did anyone have questions for this group? I'm sorry.
I
Or
just-
comments?
I just want to say excellent job. I mean, what you guys did on the fly last time was spectacular. Now that you're actually having a little more time to plan and move into it, you guys are killing it. So excellent job. Keep up the good work.
Dr. Todd?
I think.
Yes, sir.
There he is.
How's the media embracing this? And, you would think, we worked pretty close with the media through the High Desert Survey. And the reason that we were able to get their attention and do the things that we did was that they can feel the lack of advertising. They obviously know, the social media platforms had changed. They're obviously changing by the second this week. You've got a new channel coming in, High Desert Daily, being promoted very heavily by El Dorado Broadcasting. They claim to be a 24-hour news clip now. How have the media interacted with you? And candidly, are you able to say to them, no, we're not going to pay for advertising. We'd really like you to do this pro bono because, the more people we educate, the more healthy of an economy we have. The more healthy an economy we have, the more people are working. The more people are working, there's more money in the, we're all kind of a part of this. And I would think that, the college should, and President Brandon, I was thinking, where could I help? I'm proud to be a member of the High Desert Association of Realtors. We're the second largest trade organization outside of education up here. And I know that they would help, I think, promote something like this on their website and go out to their, 1,300 realtors and their 2,000 MLS people. I mean, we shouldn't have to spend a lot of money except for the print. I mean, I guess my question is the media working with you, or do we have to pay to play?
I'll let Robert respond to the media thing, but you bring up a good point. And as we were working and through some of the Aspen processes, that was one of my points was, when I don't even know what the week is, but in a week and a year, there's going to be a community college week, right? It's nationwide, support your community college. You know what? We need to, we're the community's college, but the community also needs to celebrate that this asset is here. So, like you walk into a Starbucks, why aren't all the baristas during that week wearing a Victor Valley College t-shirt? Or Target? And I know they would all participate, but that is a movement I think that I'm going to be very passionate about when that comes up, that it's time, for the public to also celebrate what they have here, because not every community, as you well know, has that. So, Robert, are you on? I'm sure he's on. So I'd like to, because he's been in communication with the media outlets.
Robert's actually here with us.
Does he have a microphone?
I think he's going to come up here.
As we've outlined the procedure for the next 4 and 5 weeks, we will be working with our radio and daily press. And as soon as we get this Facebook marketing that will be up starting next week, that we've targeted everybody in the High Desert, we'll be reaching out to them to make sure that they're part of it. We do have radio ads running now, but we're going to increase those as we go forward. When you said pay to play, there are some, as you mentioned, there are some things that we do have to pay for. And so we will be creating the postcard to be sent out within the next 10 days. It's fogging up, sorry. And so we'll let you know what that plan will be. We just talked this afternoon at 4 o'clock to make sure that we got everything that we laid out approved. And so we'll be able to share that next week, and then we'll reach out where we need a little bit of assistance and maybe some ideas as to who to connect with so that we can expand our reach. I don't know if that answers your question totally, but
I mean, the print, when you're printing, the post office isn't going to cut you any deals.
Well, that's not true.
Well, when you do bulk.
When postcards are sent out, and we've got 117,000 residents that we pulled in the high desert, because we're nonprofit, the rate that we pay for Victorville is 7.6 cents per mailing piece. That's not something that retail pays, somewhere around 18 cents. When we send out to everybody other than Victorville, it's 13.6 cents per. So we do get a break there because of our nonprofit status, but we have to use our permit 105 on all of the postcards and whatnot. As we reach out to people to see what size, that's why right now we have no competition with the flyers that are going out. There's no political collateral material that's going out. So ours will go out. We just need to make sure that it stands out. So rather than sending a 4x6, 5x8 postcard, it's going to meet the criteria of, I think Todd mentioned, but it'll be 6x11. And so it'll be something 6x11. We'll try to make it full color, but we need to make sure it's readable, it's stand out, and we have to meet all the specifics of the post. Obviously, you've sent out a lot of collateral materials, so you know that there's a certain thickness, whether or not we fold, whether or not we don't fold, and so we'll stay within 100-pound test for the cardstock that we'll use in print. We're going to print on site. We're going to have them cut on site, and we'll use our employees to make sure that they're separated by the variety of zones, that the mailing zones. You know, the largest zones will be in Victorville. When you go out to Hesperia, for example, there's 2 main zip codes that we're sending to. So we're trying to get everything laid out, get the employees in place, and be as efficient and as cost effective as we can, knowing that we're able to spend a little. It's necessary that we spend a little bit of money, but at the same time, we need to make sure that it's well placed. And so one thing that we need to make sure that we found with our students and people out in the community, we need to make sure that they're aware of us, since they've been kind of holed up at home, not going out. And so maybe they're not listening to the radio, reading the newspaper, getting on social media, whatever it is. We just need to make sure that we reached out to them, and this is the first start. And then we'll, as we talked with Dr. Walden and whatnot, this is just the beginning. So we're going to have to continue to get that feedback from people, instead of this anecdotal information that we kind of think we know what's going on. That's why, as you hear when they said we're going to do this virtual, where we're giving them a live body for them to talk with. And we want them to, with the 5,529 students that we're phone calling to, we want to sit and we want to find out why, and that they're not continuing, and what is it that we can provide, and let them know what we will be providing, and reach out and make sure that we have that direct from them. What is it that we need to help them with? Is it technology? Is it cutting through some of the friction to get enrolled? Is it some of the confusion as to what to take? Are there issues at home? Those are the things that we need to reach out and make sure that we understand, because you know, we've got that many students that were in class in the fall. What is it that is preventing them from continuing? And so in the next 2 weeks, we've got a lot of strategies that we've got in place at the moment. And then as we move forward, we'll reach out to see how we can expand that.
Any luck working with Lamar? With their electronic billboards out there on I-15? I mean, you get to Main Street and I-15, each direction is 105,000 cars a day. I mean, that's where we're.
As we go out and as we move forward, that's another topic that we've not put out there on the agenda to address right at the moment. But yes, that, you know, we need to make sure that we reach out to the people that we're aware of at the moment, create new contacts with social media, take care of the issue with lookup on Google, So it's Google, Instagram, and Facebook right at the moment, and our website and a landing page that we can send people to. So we've got to give them something and somebody that they can talk to now. That's why as they talked about the virtual, that'll be up by next Tuesday, and they'll be up and running. So we have a phone number and a connection for them to talk to. If we direct them right now, there's some things that we need to just put our head around and get squared. And that's what Art and his staff and Dr. Engelson and Dr. Scott are promoting and assisting to make sure happens. So
Right. If we can help you or Dr. Walden with Lamar Advertising, they're a national company. They have money set aside for issues like this.
Okay.
We spend a lot of money in the market out there, so we know who really does care. And the one thing I can tell everybody on in here, the media knows how bad this market is really hurting, and it's not the welfare dollars at the grocery stores that are permeating and are helping move this economy. So whatever we can do,
okay,
we're glad to.
All right, thank you. Sharon, did you have?
Oh, just a little something. I wanted to talk about counseling because that's part of keeping students in school. If we don't have proper counseling, they don't always stay, because I've dealt with a lot of students in the past, even my own children, where they had a hard time getting a hold of counseling. And so when kids are not able to get a hold of counseling, they kind of flounder, and then they lose interest because they're not set on a path to go. And I don't know how we are for counselors here,
Well,
number-wise.
Associate Vice President Lopez, are you on that you could address this question, please? Art Lopez.
See what happens.
I'm sorry, I had to
do that promotion. Oh,
so Trustee Pinkerton, we are planning to hire more part-time counselors during the spring semester. That is something that both Diane, who is the department chair from counseling, her and I will be working between now and the start of the spring to start hiring more part-time counselors to kind of meet that need for the students.
What is the ratio for student counselor?
I'll defer that to Diane, since she is one of our counselors here. Diane, do you have an accurate number on that?
Well, I have an estimate. I think it's about 1,500 to 1. If we talk about generalist counselors, remember we have generalist counselors who are here to meet with all students. Then we have specialty counselors in specific programs who meet with the students in their programs. And in general counseling, we have 10 counselors. However, as department chair, I have 50% release time. The articulation officer has 60% release time. We have one counselor who is embedded at the Regional Public Safety Training Center, so her whole focus is on those programs. We have another counselor who is completely outreach, and when she has time, she helps with general counseling, but her primary focus is outreach. We have another counselor whose primary focus is transfer. So if you narrow it down, we end up with like 6 full-time counselors, and it ends up being about 1,500 students per counselor. And in addition to counseling, we also serve on committees. We also we started our own VVC counseling website where students can email us more, questions and situations that don't necessarily need a whole counseling appointment. And we rotate on addressing those emails. So we believe we're doing the best we can with the number of people we have. I do want to point out, we also initiated in December being open on 2 Saturdays from 9 to 3. We saw 137 students on those 2 Saturdays. There were 12 students on the second Saturday who were over the time. And so one of our counselors met with them the following week, which was actually during the break.
So one of those issues you brought up, Diane, the fact that you're saying we're 1,500 to 1, the Chancellor's Office standard is to have one counselor for 960 students. Don't quote me on the exact number, but it's around there. I believe it's 960. And so that tells us that this is an issue we have to correct here at the college. Yeah. We've got to have our counselors, counseling and available to the 960. So there's at least one per 960. students is going to require the hiring of more full-time counselors, which will we'll have to work with the academic senate and their hiring prioritization process on, and I'm committed to do that. And in the meantime, I have given Art Lopez a carte blanche to hire as many part-time counselors as we need so that no student is waiting around for counseling right now. I mean, I know they are, but we want to get that line short so that no one has to wait. I don't want them calling in and being told there's nothing for 2 weeks, because that's just not acceptable, especially going into a new semester.
Can you, point of clarification, can you speak to what 50% release time means?
Well, that means that, so she is a full-time counselor. She was selected to be the department chair. And as per the contract, depending on the size of your department, you get release time. In other words, you don't have to you're expected to spend, in her case, 50% of her work time is supposed to be running the department. That takes that much energy to run the department, and so she can't counsel during that time.
And the other was the 60% was the articulation officer, and her role is to articulate agreements with four-year colleges and universities so that our classes transfer smoothly.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Walden, I'm confused and a little miffed. I remember distinctly 4 years ago, our college made the front page of the Daily Press because we had students standing out in front of the admin building at 5 o'clock in the morning trying to get in to see a counselor. Dr. Wagner, I think, hired 4 people at the time. Your number is about 1 to 960. I'm not a real smart guy, but I'm real good with numbers, and I remember numbers. And to hear that we've gone, I mean, there was a promise made, and I'm going to tell you, former trustee Pinkerton rode this horse hard because he's a counselor. And we hired, I believe it was 4 that year. And to hear this report that we're now back at 1 to 15 is just absolutely unacceptable. I mean, if we're trying to fix this problem, we can't, when you say we're going to do something, we were told as a board, we're authorized. Dr. Wagner said he took care of it. We never had another issue. We never made the paper again about our students standing in line. And to hear that we're literally 70% higher than what the norm should be, it doesn't make sense. And we get all this PPP money and all this extra COVID money. I don't get it.
So
it could be, excuse me, that that some of those hires were again in specialty programs, because we're looking at, apples and oranges here. And we did lose 2 full-time generalist counselors in the last year. One retired and one moved to another college closer to his residence.
Right.
And I'm not arguing about that, but when I hear about the money we get from COVID, and we shouldn't have a problem hiring these people with all the money.
So Trustee Brady, I think before you go off too far, that's the reason we are backfilling. So it isn't that the students we're talking about the full-time ratio here. So we're backfilling those positions. So the students are being served. Okay, we're backfilling them with adjuncts. So we have an adjunct can teach 2/3 of an assignment. So 2 adjuncts teaches whatever 6.7 is times 2. So in other words, we hire as many, that's why I said earlier, I've given a carte blanche to Art Lopez to use this COVID money to backfill and get as many counselors as we need serving, and we're talking about adjunct counselors. I was saying long-term, we need to hire more full-time, but hiring full-time is not easy. I can't just hire a full-time faculty member.
But my comment,
we just had 2 retirements, so 2 of those 4 are already just left, okay? And the others, I guess, have been, as Diane put out, just because counselors were, I think since I've been here, we've hired at least 2, but they were specialty. So we're talking about general counseling to the general student population. We have a lot more counselors than just 11 because they're working in EOPS and CalWorks and Access and all this other. But what I'm saying is that the adjunct, the hourly part-time employees that we're hiring are backfilling so that we can take care of the students. So that's why I said, I told him, whatever you have to do, just go out and hire them. And HR is publishing a job recruitment to get more adjuncts in the pool so that they can be called upon. But the long-term fix is to work with the academic senate to get those positions prioritized so that they can be hired full-time.
And Dr. Wald, I appreciate the update, but I'll tell you the one thing that some of us do remember is the picture of those students standing out in front, not being able to get on in and having the promise. And candidly, I have not heard as much complaint. Now, obviously, COVID has changed how people interact here, but that counseling issue was a real hot issue before you came here. It was hot.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that we're on top of it, we're working with it, and we're negotiating with the union about counselor assignments.
I think another thing to consider is that I know that our IT department website did a lot of work to make it so the students could self-serve and they didn't need to speak to a counselor for things that they could handle themselves. So I know that that there's been a lot of work put into that area to make it so that the students didn't have to have a counseling appointment to unlock certain things or to get things done. Is this true, Bridge? Are you?
I was actually going to say something kind of in the lines of what Trustee Pinkerton pointed out. I talked about this in my ASB meeting. I know personally 20 individuals. I've been at VVC at the end of the spring semester. It'll be 3 years, and we've followed the same classes. We're all going the nursing pathway or psych conjoined with it. I know 20 people in general that 2 weeks till they could talk to a counselor. And I'm not saying that it's not something, I totally see where you're coming from, Dr. Walton, that it's something that has continuously been worked on, and people are for certain positions and some people are hired as specialty positions. I get that. But like from my perspective as a student, I know 20 different people, and at least 8 of them ended up going to Barstow because they could talk to a counselor that day, not 2 weeks, for 1 hour. And if they still didn't have qualifications or clarifications, on their ed plan, they could call back and reserve that person for another hour. And they had their educational plans met because, I mean, even though we are an institution of higher learning, unfortunately, some people, and a vast majority of them, need guidance in creating their educational plans. They're looking at these old, I think it's the IGAT, they have the blue, the pink, and the purple form of whatever designated educational endeavor they're going forward with. And with all of the accreditation stuff, academic plans changing, different prerequisites being needed. For example, like I was already enrolled. If I wasn't, I would have had to take Bio 107 before I took 211, like I'm taking right now. But a lot of these people don't know that. And then, of course, in conjunction with all of these errors in Navigate, I know that, for example, and these drop in add dates, unfortunately, I think that's also an issue when it comes to enrollment. I think that they're way too close, especially in winter semesters like this. There was 7 people in a study group. Like I said, I'm taking human anatomy this winter or whatever. And 5 people out of those 7 people, including myself, dropped the class within 3 days. Now there's no other person that couldn't have filled that position. Someone that was waiting, one of those classes that people literally wait in line to get into. Now, granted, there was another bio, there was another micro, and there was another physio class that were added to the spring because they are high demand classes, because a lot of people that come to VVC are trying to take nursing. But a large thing, at least from my personal experience of the people I know, it's the counseling aspect. People can't talk to someone, and they want to be able to talk to someone because they need that guidance, unfortunately. So
President
people
Wood.
need someone to kind of hold their hand and go to the playground together.
Yeah.
Let me-
Sharon had something.
Oh.
No, I was just agreeing with Richard here that, yeah, counselors are really front line as far as keeping these, keeping them from not going, as you said, to Barstow or another place down, down the hill. So yeah, they are a huge part of keeping students here. Marketing's great, but once they get here, we got to keep them here.
So what the short term is to get as many of the adjuncts in the pool so that we can get them served, right? because as I said earlier, I brought this up. I don't want a student waiting 2 weeks to get a counseling appointment. I want them to be able to get one right away. Secondly, we are negotiating and working with the union so that counselors can be assigned to actually counsel their full load. And then if they want to teach more than that, they can go over their full load in teaching. What's happening right now is many of our counselors are teaching classes instead of counseling. And counselors are hired to counsel. So they need to counsel the 35 hours a week. And so, but that has to be, you know, that's something we're in discussions with the union, because this college, unlike where I've been before, has had a practice of counselors being able to choose to teach classes rather than counsel. And that's why you can hire 100 counselors, but if they're all in the classroom, they're not counseling. So that's a structural issue at the college. That's long-term practice that I am committed to work with our union partners and colleagues to see that gets corrected over this next year. We've already been working on it for a while, but we will get there. The second part is the immediate thing I said is to get the adjuncts here filling in these counseling slots. The long-term solution is hiring more full-time counselors and having them having them actually counsel a full load. A full load of counseling is 35 hours a week. Having them available to the students, each counselor 35 hours a week, will really make a difference. And so that is, I've got counselors here that have been here 20 years that have been teaching their classes because that's what they were allowed to do. And so that has to change. And Rome was not built in a day. I know that sounds like an excuse, but it's the reality. And there's so many changes that we've been trying to work in here. So we've just restructured student services and put an associate VP over counseling that reports directly to me. And this is an area that I'm committed to make a priority, which is one of the reasons we restructured it like we are. But it is not okay. It is not okay for students to sit around. We are going to win the #1 prize in the nation. And to do that, we have to serve students. And we have to have counselors available. And we need more full-time counselors, and we need more adjunct counselors. And we need our counselors counseling first and then teach if they want. After that, once they finish their 35 hours, they can teach up to their 0.67 that's allowed. That would be my response to this.
All right. Anything?
Joe's got more.
I just want to make a comment to what Dr. Walden, and not for purposes of arguing. If we're going to get the Aspen Award, Rome has to be built quickly. Okay, and if you can't say to Google and Apple and Microsoft, it wasn't built overnight. That's not I think the attitude that we want to have. I will tell you this, and I said this about 4 months ago. I have a young man in my office who I watched go to high school. And I know where he wanted to go. And he was a great football player and ran into some problems, just physically got injured. And where did he come? He came here. And unfortunately, he started the COVID process. And when I've talked to him, he's a quiet young man, but real smart. And apparently he had quit after his first semester. He said it was just a terrible experience. And Doc, nobody, okay, and I'm a trustee. At the time I was board president. Nobody reached out to this young man, and I didn't know about it. I just assumed he was coming in the office, he's doing his work. His dad's one of our most important employees and very loyal. And nobody ever reached out to this kid, and I guess he kind of quit. And when I sat down and talked to him, he said, no one ever reached out to me. And I had that line. I mean, you and I never talked about it because you've got that line as a trustee, but I think that Rome has to be built a whole lot quicker. And I guess where the hot button is I just remember how much trouble we got with the public by having our students had to stand out there to get an appointment in the cold. It was an ugly, I think, and I know Trustee Pinkerton, so I'm not going to say anymore because we could be here all night.
I still think we've come a long way since then.
Oh yeah, but I think I think to be great, we we have to get there a whole lot quicker. I mean, in my world, that's just, I'm challenged every single day, you know?
Well, I have the pedal all the way down to the metal. So it's the pedal is down. Ask anybody that worked with me. Ask the group I called into a mandatory meeting at 4 o'clock today to talk about all these issues. And so you have my commitment. As long as I'm here, we're going to get this done as fast as we can. You can't do it as fast as you can in the business world because you're a public government agency with a ton of bureaucracy and ed codes and Title V that's 2 books that thick. So those are my restrictions that I can't bypass. But as fast as we can, we're going to get it done.
And I would just say this in closing. If those people on a part of that 2-binder system all want to come together, they'll come together forgetting the 2-binder system or whatever I understand the ed code, but I also understand. Huh?
I was talking about the regulations that interpret the red.
I got a ton of regulations too. We all do. We live in California.
I have a question. Are we in a teacher shortage?
No.
So if we've hired people to be counselors, why are they teaching?
Because, so there's counseling classes, they're called guidance classes. And what has been, in my past experience in California community colleges is that counselors counsel their load first. And after that, if they want to teach, they teach those classes. Or if you have enough counselors to do the coverage you need in the counseling center, then they can by assignment be assigned to teach part of their load as in these classes. But the practice here is like that they get to do this first, and they may only be counseling 15, 18 hours. So I issued an edict and said this is how it's going to be, and the union has said no. So we are in negotiations. They said stop, not yet. And so we're working on that, and we've been working on it a few months.
Okay.
And in a union environment, that you deal with unions.
No, of course. I just
So
was.
what I will say
a little
that since
confused.
I've been here, there's been no lines outside that's been in the paper. And I'm committed to make sure that hopefully it doesn't happen.
Dr. Walden, I would like to address a little bit about the teaching. First of all, not all of us are teaching on load. Some of us do and some of us don't. But we do look at the guidance class as an extension of counseling. We cover a lot of the same issues that we would cover in a counseling appointment. And so if you look at student contact hours, we're meeting with, let's say, 30 students in 1 hour where normally you'd meet with 1. So it's still related to counseling, and it's still helping students with goal setting, time management, and those kind of life skills that they can use in life and other classes. So it is related to counseling.
Okay,
It's
I
not
needed
like
that
we're
clarification.
teaching something totally different.
Okay, I needed that personally clarification.
Yeah, no,
because
they're
I
not
didn't
a-
know, like,
it's
are
not
you
like they're-
teaching math? What are you teaching?
It's counseling related skills.
They're guidance classes, right?
Yes.
They're called
Like
that's-
freshman seminar type thing?
they cover things like
Career and life planning. We have self-esteem, building math confidence, first year experience, learning strategies.
And Trustee Brady, I just wanted to kind of also answer that one question in reference to the athletes. We do have a full-time counselor that works with all of our athletes as well. So I'm not sure at what point in time that student that you mentioned came, but we do have a full-time counselor that works with all of our athletes.
Okay.
All right. I think we're moving on to item 7.
Wait, no, I have to finish my report. No, I have president comment 6.6. Okay.
I thought you were well beyond that.
You thought I'd outgrown that?
Well beyond.
Yeah. I'm going to do the
So,
thing here.
Quickly, I told you I would give you a COVID report. So since March of 2020, we have had 54 total positive tests of faculty staff and students, 36 staff and faculty, and 18 students. To give you an idea of how that has gone, there was 1 in May, none in June, 4 in July, 1 in August, 1 in September, 5 in October, 17 in November, 20 in December, and the first 4 days of the year, this is as of, because this report's of January 4th, we had 5, so a little over 1 a day. As far as I know, and there's one that we're looking into right now, our tracing has not identified any of these cases have been contacted or transmitted at work. They've all been people that were out in the field and came to work or realized they were sick or whatever. So I want to commend our HR and John's area and our COVID, the chief and all those that have worked on this that have made sure that at least to this point, we have not been a spreader institution. So I think that's even if this one case is true, that means that 1 case out of 54 that was caught evidently transmitted from a student to a teacher. So that I think is a good thing. The last thing I wanted to say is, 2 things. Our special meeting on January 21st, in which you can, we'll be looking at my evaluation. So that'll be a closed session meeting. Obviously there's an open before it and open after, but that's the agenda for that day. So thank you for being willing to do that. 5 o'clock, and they'll be feeding you. The last thing, San Bernardino County has designated January as School Board Recognition Month. So I want to, if you would give me permission, I'd like to take my liberties and read this to you so that it's a little more personal and not so general. During this time, Victor Valley College board members are commended for serving the interest of students and shaping the educational landscape of our community. According to the California School Boards Association, there are more than 5,000 board trustees in California, of which 5 serve the great institution of Victor Valley College. The California School Board Association sponsors this event to underscore the commitment to public service shown by Victor Valley College trustees Brandon Wood, Jennifer Tarpley, Dennis Henderson, Sharon Pinkerton, and Joseph Brady, and for their work at Victor Valley College. So I could have read to you just the resolution, but I thought that was to you, so.
Thank you.
You.
Thank you. If I could just say something about your COVID report. As I pulled in and I was looking something down the driveway, and there were a couple cars in front of me, and when I got up to the guy down there, I said, "So what are you doing?" He goes, "We're directing people in here to do COVID." I said, "You still testing right now?" He goes, "Oh yeah." I said, "How many people do you test in here a day?" Check this, 1,400 a day. How many times, Dr. Walton, have I reached out to you? Michelle, you bailed me out today with, you have no idea who you helped out, a really well-known civic leader who calls me. I hadn't talked to him in a month. He's panicked. His kid got it, or he thought, and he said to me, "Joe, I mean, this is somebody that we all know. I won't say who it is." And he goes, "Where can I go?" I said, "Well, I think the college has." He goes, "Where can I find it?" I said, "I don't know. Go to San Bernardino County." Well, within 2 minutes, I'm talking to him. I'm emailing Michelle, and within 2 minutes before I get off the phone, I've got a link to him, and they're doing 1,400 a day down here. What does that tell you? We are a part of a pretty cool process. And Doc, I want to thank you for helping out the people that, I connected you with, or you connected them with, because back in December when it was, you couldn't, there was about a week up here, you could not get in anywhere to get a test.
So we're working to switch that to 1,400 vaccinations.
You can count me in on that one.
All right, now we're.
That was my report.
All right.
Is that all?
There we go. We are moving at lightning speed tonight. It's only like 7:25, and we're barely on item 7.
What does that tell you as the first time you've chaired the presidency this term?
Right. Well, I think it's It's mostly Sewell's fault. I'm just saying that because he's not in the
Or we can
room.
just move along.
So we'll blame him. Right.
Yeah.
We're moving along. All
It
right.
wasn't Sewell's fault because he is here, yeah.
Right. He's not here. So we blame Sewell.
Yeah.
All right. 7.1 Academic Senate. Y'all out there in TV land? Tim, Michelle, anything?
Henry, are you here?
Henry never misses.
I'm showing my age when I say
not
I'm
here.
TV land.
Henry's got
know.
that cool
All
library
right.
look, doesn't he?
So there it is. Senate 321. That's it. Senate's gone. CTA out in TV land, coming in live and hot. No CTA popping up over there, Michelle or Tim. CSEA.
Sounds like an auctioneer, doesn't it?
Debbie Peterson here.
CSEA. Oh, we can't hear you, CSEA. We're going to move on. Skip you guys. No. Go ahead, CSEA. You are live and on the air.
So I just want to let you know that I am still alive and kicking, and to wish you all a happy new year. I do not have a report at this time since we're just starting out, but welcome back and congratulations, President Wood.
Thank you. You don't have a picture. You're just like it looks like an N. Is it a D?
It's actually a D.
Oh, it's kind of cut off on the bottom. It's okay. All right.
Happy New Year, Deb.
Let's get you a fake fireplace like Shannon has.
No, I need the beach.
Okay, we'll get you a beach.
Yeah.
Somebody get her a beach for Zoom meetings.
The beach.
All right, is that it?
That
Nothing
is
else
it.
from CSEA? No, nothing else?
Nothing else. Thank you.
Nothing else. All right, AFT, part-time faculty. Y'all out there? No, I'm seeing no's from the corner. No, all the way around. All right, and the group that never passes up an opportunity to say something, much like Joe Brady.
And that is a fact.
The management group. Who's up for management?
I am.
All right. Well, Dan burned up 3 minutes and 55 seconds of your time, so go ahead.
That's okay. For manager report, we don't have a lot. Well, Happy New Year. But I do have Lilia Geary from Contract Community Education attended the California Apprenticeship Council in December. Information gathered will assist with programs related to the Construction Apprenticeship Readiness Program, the Electronics Technician Apprenticeship Program with General Atomics, and the Strong Workforce Launch efforts. And that was it. So like I said, Happy New Year. Thank you.
Look at that. Good job, Jason. You did get through in 5 seconds. Hey, are you out there at the George Air Force Base right now, or have you been out there?
I haven't been anywhere. I went to Tennessee. That's about it. So.
No, I mean, are you out at the logistics center? Are you out at the?
No. I'm at the one stop.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know if you'd been out there. Okay. All right. Is that it for you?
Yep.
Good. All right. We're moving on to the consent agenda. All right. So everything in the consent agenda is considered to be normal business. So if anybody would like to have any discussion about anything in the consent agenda, that trustee can pull that item at this point. Does anybody like to pull anything for a discussion after we vote on the consent agenda? No. Sharon, Dennis, pull anything? No. Okay. So do we have a motion for consent agenda?
Second. Motion Henderson, second Brady.
And we don't have any discussion on consent agenda, so student advisory vote.
Yay.
I taught him well.
Will it please do a verbal for this one?
Aye.
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 After I go through all that work to be sure I was set up.
I have a technical glitch just on the consent agenda.
You're not allowed to beat her up.
No, it says search your device.
You have a technical glitch on just the consent agenda?
All right, we'll keep going. Oh, there it is. It popped up. All right, we'll keep going and see what happens. All right, so now we're moving on to the action item agenda. Do we have any public comments for action item?
No, we do not.
No, okay. There was no items pulled from the consent agenda, so we're skipping 10.1. We now have a second read of board policy 3050. We did cover this previously. For the second read, do we need a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second. All right, any discussion on this? I think we've all looked it over. Actually, Sharon, you would not have looked it over, right? Or you
No,
weren't here at
she
the
was
first
giving
read?
them.
No, I was.
Were you here for the first read?
Well, she was
Okay, all right, so you're up to speed, you're good?
Mhm.
Okay, all right, then we've got the vote up, and the student advisory vote is?
Yay.
Michelle, you good? You good? Okay, I was just pausing. 10.3, second read of board policy 3430. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion on 3430? Hearing none, student advisory vote?
Yay.
All right, 10.4, second read of 3433. Is there a motion?
Second.
Any discussion on item 10.4? Student advisory vote?
Yay.
And second read of 3540. Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
Any discussion? And student advisory vote? Michelle, if I'm killing you, let me know. Slow down.
A little bit, I'm getting there.
All right.
Motion by Henderson, second by Brady.
Student advisory vote was
Yay.
Was that a yes?
It was yay. She's
celebration.
super excited about these. She's like, yay. Yay. All right, 11.1 Finish Line Scholars Program Grant. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, motion by Brady, second by Henderson. Will that help if I do that?
That's wonderful, yeah.
All right, I'll try to remember. They do, they sound exactly the same. Like, they both sound like wah, wah, wah.
They make it big for us older guys.
It's like peanuts. Wah, 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 wah. All right, any discussion on Finish Line Scholars Program Grant? Any
This is
discussion? You want to, Dr. Walden, input?
$150,000 income from the state to the college to help students, direct and financial aid, emergency financial aid.
All right, and the student advisory vote is?
Yay.
All right, 12.2, an extension of an approval for an MOU with the Victor Valley Community College District and the Victor Valley Foundation. I believe we spoke about this earlier during the foundation report. Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Brady, second by Henderson. Any discussion on this? Is there a Shannon out there that wants input on this, or are we all good? We're all good. Okay, there it is. Student advisory vote.
Yay.
And 13.1, revised job description for the Dean of the School of Public Safety and Industrial Technology. Got to be careful because I'll mess that up. You know I will. Is there a motion regarding this revised job description?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Henderson, second by Tarpley. Is there any discussion on this, or is there any input? Discussion?
Well, this is a position this is out there to fill the position that Todd Scott vacated. However, it's not the exact position because we restructured instruction. So therefore we had to bring to the board a new job description.
Right. We discussed this previously, I think, when we were talking about the overall plan when we were talking about the changes. All right. Any additional questions, discussion, anything? All right. Hearing none. Student advisory vote.
Yay.
Yay. All right. Item 14.1, curriculum changes. This is an action item. Okay, I was checking to make sure that it wasn't informational. This is action item. So is there a motion? It's motion by Henderson, second by Brady. Henderson to Brady. And any discussion on this? This is one that a lot of times we get student trustees concerned about. Was there anything in this bridge that caused you concern or?
Nope, but I always read them and not to go off.
I know you do.
Like I said, that's one of the issues sometimes is some people don't know that prerequisites and other curriculum stuff gets changed. So I look at them.
No, I know you look at them, and it's been of everything on the agenda where you could almost guarantee the student trustee was going to have a whole lot to say. It was when we hit these curriculum changes. So I'll always look to you if we have one. All right. With that said, any additional comment, discussion? No. And student advisory vote?
Yay.
All right, there's no 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. We're all the way down to 20. Also an action item, memorandum of understanding, Simba Center HHIP grant. Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Brady, second by Henderson. And any discussion on this?
This is in concert with one you approved last month with another company that works, another nonprofit that works with us on homeless students. And so the grant is $700,000 a year. This one company doesn't get 700, nor does the other one get 700, because last month said 700. It's the same pot of money. And so they only can invoice us for things that we have given them permission to do. And then we pay them out of this money for homeless students.
All right, any additional discussion? Bridge has a question.
Are you talking about that whole homeless liaisons?
Homeless liaisons.
So these are students that are needing temporary housing. I mean, it's not intended to be permanent. It's to take them off the street, get them some housing, get them some food, and point them in the right direction. Last month, I don't know if you remember, but we brought, I think, Amber on, and she talked a little bit about that it actually is structured and there's a plan and it's very well put together. So
I do recall that. And I know that it's part of our,
it's the same thing.
ASB goals and all that other stuff,
So this is helping you
help out with
accomplish
that.
your goal.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
All right, that's for any other discussion, comment, questions. All right, student advisory vote.
Yay.
All right, and with that, we are to everybody's favorite part when us board members just get to ramble on about absolutely nothing of any importance. Board communication, individual board of trustees reports. With that, Sharon, would you like to go first or would you like to go last?
Last.
Last, okay. So I thought, trying to be polite, so I give you the option, but I kind of figured maybe you want to go. So with that, Trustee Tarpley.
Ooh. All right, we're gonna start with the quick one.
Yeah.
So it was a slow month for me. I did not go to any professional development and just enjoy. I know.
A month without professional development for Trustee Tarpley
was
is
a
like a month
vacation.
without sunshine.
I know, I rested. So Happy New Year. Thank you. And we're back at it for January.
That's it?
That's it. Thank you. Good night.
Wow. All right, Bridge.
Happy New Year to everyone. Good to see you now here, Trustee Pinkerton. Yeah, just grateful that we could all come together and I don't really have much of a report. So let's go home.
All right. Trustee Brady.
Keep it short. We obviously live in a very challenged world. I would encourage anybody and everybody that's watching this to say a prayer every day. I'm not one that likes to see my constitutional rights of free speech squashed like some of our big tech companies. And I'm deeply concerned about it. You know, we're in the communication business. We deal with a lot of people and have a lot of responsibilities. And to think that we're watching this as adults go full circle, we're involved. We're going to speak out. We're doing our video about it. I think it's a real challenge, and I think it's. And especially when we're at a school, what do? We preach about communication and, you know, the freedoms of education. And here, you know, we're being squashed. So I'm gonna take that fight, and, you know, hopefully it doesn't bother everybody else. I think
You know, I mean, it's sad to see what's going on with COVID. It's impacting so many people. I'm just glad that we're all here. You did a great job tonight. You got us here early, you know, by court date. So
Not yet.
I knew you'd come through.
We're not
But I
there
know that
yet.
Dr. Walden helped with that agenda, so we'll see what happens in February. So
Not yet. I
great
can keep
job.
going.
Great job.
All right, Dennis.
Yeah, I'm just not real happy with what's going on either. Just like you. I hate to see those tech giants tell you what you can and can't say. And they'll just take you off if you don't like what you're saying. That's not the American way. That's the Soviet way. That's how I was raised. Because you could say anything.
You were raised the Soviet way?
It's like Reagan used to say. He said,
was raised a Russian.
the difference
I know,
between
yeah.
the
That's what
Soviet
he just
Union
said.
and our country is that in our country, you can go to the president's office and say, I don't like the way you're running the country, Mr. President. And the Soviet he was talking to said, I can do that. He said, I can go to the Kremlin and talk to the leader and tell him, I don't like the way Ronald Reagan's running his country.
Yeah.
Can I interrupt? Because I don't want us to leave here with misinformation. So I just got this from Jenny Moran. She does the stats. She said the closest the college ever got when they did those four hires was 1 to 1,100.
She's correct.
And so right now it's 1 to 400. The college has never been at 1 to 900 plus. So just so you know that the reason it's 1 to 1,100 to 1 to 14 right now, part of it is 2 counselors. There's only like 11 of them total. So 2 have retired. So they have to be replaced. But anyway, I just want you to have the accurate information.
Wait, 1 to 14 or 1 to 1,400?
The guideline is 1 to 960. All
1
right.
to 960.
And we're at
And at one point, the college at its best was 1 to 1,100 students. And right now we're 1 to 1,400 students.
1,400, okay. All right.
That's full time. That doesn't mean that they're not being served but we need to do, as we said earlier, the adjunct. So I just want you to have the data. I want you to have the correct data.
Well, I think we need to, if the data is based on, and Jenny, I don't expect you to do it right now. I know how you are. You're probably already like gearing up to jam the answer out real quick. So don't do it. Just in the future. I mean, that's nice to know, but it's misleading in a bad way. So if we have 11 counselors and we have so many students in it, so it's 1 to 1,400. But if we have 10 adjunct counselors that are serving students, then I think the number has to include the work that the adjuncts are doing, because 1 to 1,400 full-time, I get that that's a number, but it doesn't really answer the question, how well are the students being served? Because if with adjuncts, then we're down to like 1 to 300. Well, then we're killing it. We're doing
Michelle,
a fabulous job.
Trustee Wood brings up an outstanding point. So what we're looking at full-time equivalent.
Right.
So I want us to bring back to the board next month in the president's report, what is the full-time equivalent on this ratio in general counseling?
Right. That'll be
not the specialized areas, because that's out of the discussion. So
but if we also don't count the specialized areas, then we also shouldn't count those students.
Well,
right.
Having had a million arguments with the unions over the years, don't go there. Let's just figure this out, okay?
So I do want to say though, that I think that if we are just talking about numbers, one person working 14 to 1,500 students, our counselors are doing a phenomenal job. I mean, it's probably going to seem like we're trying to beat up on them, and that's not the case. That is a tremendous work.
No, the counselors.
So I want the counseling department to know that we thank them.
And I want you to know that the counseling department is asking for more full-time.
Right, and we want to help them.
counselors. They are asking.
Dr. Walden.
Right, that's
Right.
all I want to make sure we. get
Dr.
across to
Walden,
them.
one of the, hopefully in a part of your report, because we have that solar report that we'll do, but it's a part of your report if we can go back, because Jenny does know. I mean, the one thing I learned the second day I was here, you don't argue with Jenny unless you have her data. And Jenny, I say it to you, out of respect, because you know how much I respect you. but if she would remember back when we had this issue. So I'd like to know where we were then and where we are now. In the world of what we are teaching our students, we always want to say to them, you're here, now where are you at? So we want people to obviously understand that.
Do you know what year that was?
It was about 4 years ago. Roger was here, Dr. Wagner was here.
It was farther. It was.
I can
over
tell you
4
this,
years, I
by the
think.
time I reach my house tonight, I will call Trustee Pinkerton and he will have the date and the time. So help me God.
I mean, forgive me, but I think maybe we should.
And I
just
know
focus on
John's listening right now, but no, it was, I mean, I think our board learned a lot about counseling because that's what Trustee Pinkerton did. He didn't do it. He lives, dies, and breathes it.
So we will have a report next month that will give you some sort of a trend of where the college has been. And we'll give you full-time equivalent.
I think we could, and I think Trustee Tarpley makes a good point. I think we could spend a whole lot less time on looking at historical data and a whole lot more time looking at current data versus where we'd like to be. I mean, where we've been is great, but what matters is where we are now and where we'd like to be.
Jenny's saying,
here we
this
you
is not
did it.
hard,
See, I
hard
knew
to
she was gonna
find.
do it.
She said because she reports to the board every year where we are with counseling ratio in the scorecard data that we report. So she will just pull up those reports she's been given to us every year.
And she knows that we've got them readily accessible, right, Jenny? Yeah, right.
Right. I knew she would start doing it. She's watching. Yeah. And as soon as I posed the question, I figured she's going to be cranking away and shooting a text. You don't have to do that. I appreciate it. Love you, but you don't have to do that. All right. So any closing comments? Dan? No. All right. And Sharon, or you want to go or you want me to go?
I can go.
Okay.
I just wanted to talk about counseling again. The counseling, I think, is a big part of goal number one, as in, they see the student and they're there for them. And counseling is just not just guidance. They're there for many things, many, many things. They can give hope to a kid who didn't have hope before. I can attest to that. So, but they're something that we really need to invest in because they're a big part of the school. They're a big part of bringing kids in, and they're also a big part of giving hope to students that didn't have it before. I mean, I've seen it from John. It's amazing. I've seen him talk to kids on the phone, getting them back home, right? Because they ran away. So there's so many things to counseling. It's just amazing. And what a difference it can make in a student's life. And the other thing is, I know I'm supposed to get this health care, and I was wondering, I'd like to donate the cost of my health care because I don't need it. And I don't know, I want it to be donated to the Foundation for Worthy Students, if that's possible. If you could have somebody look into that, Dan.
Let me check that out, okay, and I'll get back with you.
Okay, thank you. And I just wanted to say I went to the art show online, and we have some very fantastic student artists here. I really enjoyed it, really, really enjoyed it. And the art program, I think, is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And that's all I have to say, and thank you, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I'm glad you said the art exhibit because I did do that and I'd forgotten about it and wasn't gonna say anything, but I also checked that out online. Spectacular artists. I think Dan, you sent us the link, right? Didn't we get that from you? So that was excellent. I'm gonna take just a couple of seconds and be quick. It's non-VVC related, but the person who I'm going to talk about, I'm going to guess because he's such a legend in the high desert. A lot of you know. Today, a longtime colleague of mine, a guy who was a mentor to me when I was brand new here in the Victorville courthouse, kind of took me under his wing, looked out for me for many years. Today was his kind of last official day as he went off to retirement. So 17 years of hanging out with this guy every day, working with him, being a friend. He was a mentor to me. At this point, he's more like family than a friend. And he's off. He's moving out of the state, moving to go be with his daughter. So for anybody out there who knows Brian Watson, he's a popular guy, well-loved, well-liked in this high desert. I've actually never come across anybody who didn't absolutely love the guy for good reason. Lovable guy. He looked out for me for a lot of years and helped me out. In the Navy, we would refer to that as a sea daddy, which people laugh at who weren't in the Navy because it sounds stupid. Jenny's laughing at it. She's like, I don't think you can say that, dude. It's not like that. It's just, it's like your big brother, the guy who looks out for you. It's not like that. Look, okay, now everybody's focused on that. But anyway, Brian Watson, kind of sort of officially retired today. I think today was his last day at the courthouse, at least until March. He's going to come back and finish wrapping up some stuff he has, but been really close to me, long time good guy. And so I wanted to just take this second publicly. He's not watching this. I'm sure he doesn't know even about this, and I'm not going to tell him to go watch it because it's a little bit embarrassing saying nice things about your friend. We don't talk to each other like this at work. We give each other grief all day. But for anybody out there that knows him, he's off. So if you do come across him online or anything, tell him congratulations and best to you and your family and your retirement. We're gonna miss you, Joe.
Didn't he have his office out in Barstow?
I don't know if Watson ever had an office out there. I don't think so. I think Dave Light had an office in Barstow.
No. I want to say Brian did right down the street from our office that we have for our management company.
He might have had
because he
one
had
out
a
there.
great reputation.
Oh,
we
yeah.
didn't know he was friends with you though, so that's I'll tell that to Deb tonight. But and again, another Californian moving out of state.
Yeah, he's going to live. I think, man. I mean, I feel like the worst friend in the world, but they all blend together in my mind. My friend was just here to visit from Minnesota, so I'm pretty sure that Watson's going to Missouri. But right now,
What is
my
Minnesota?
wife is probably watching this going like, it's Idaho or not Idaho or Ohio or something. So it's Ohio, Missouri. I'm pretty sure it's not Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Midwest, it's gorgeous. I've seen pictures of where they're going. It's beautiful. And that's where his daughter, who's retired from the Air Force, and her husband also retired from the Air Force, live. Brian was a former Army guy, then a California Highway Patrolman, and then became an attorney. Quite a long career. Yeah, was that? Did you know him in Barstow then?
No, but one of my very good friends who left the high deserts of CHP that has a house down the street from us in Prescott was that's where I hear his name a lot. So they were based out of Barstow with CHP.
Yep. He was a longtime highway patrolman. Probably wrote some people watching tonight a ticket at some point. I don't know if he did while he's retired. So give him a break. But yeah, great contributor, as a law enforcement officer to this community, keeping us safe. And then as an attorney here, fighting for the folks of the high desert. So it's a big loss. It's a big loss to my heart personally. Good dude, like a brother. So like, I'm not going to say it now. You ruined it. You made it weird. You made it weird, Jen. You made it weird.
See, I thought we were going to be done by quarter till,
I didn't.
I know, right? All right. So there we go. Done before 8 o'clock. So Dan owes us ice cream and motion to adjourn. Wait.
Motion.
Michelle. Wait. Michelle's saying wait. Michelle?
Second.
Okay. All right.
Motion from Brady.
Second,
Henderson.
Tarpley.
Second from Henderson.
Whoever.
All in favor?
The time is
Aye.
7:53. Wow, not bad for his first meeting, huh?